Civil service workers ordered back to work. First tonight, government wins a Supreme Court injunction forcing air traffic controllers, doctors, nurses, and others back on the job. The latest on the legal action aiming to end a nationwide strike. This has no signs of stopping. The union leading the industrial action tells us hours before the court ruling that the 48-hour walkout could be extended. Government agencies still feeling the strain. And war against crime. Prime Minister Davis lays out his expectations with the new police commissioner demanding results in the battle against gangs and violent crime. Then in our news at 7:30, the nationwide strike comes back into focus. The National Congress of Trade Unions calls for an end to the disruptions. Why the president says it's time for civil servants to get back to work. Our news live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to our news live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. Government has secured a Supreme Court injunction forcing trade union Congress affiliates back on the job after a second day of disruptive industrial action. The court order named several key ministries, including Health and Wellness, Public Hospitals Authority, and Tourism as claimants, while major unions like air traffic controllers and Bahama's doctors unions are listed as defendants. The legal action follows a widespread labor withdrawal by the Trade Union Congress over unresolved issues. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville shared news of the court order in a press conference late Tuesday afternoon.
An affidavit was filed on January the 14th with the Supreme Court and heard by Justice Darren Ellis. The Supreme Court ordered that an injunction restraining the employees with the Department of Public Health, the Ministry of Health, as well as the Public Hospitals Authority, from being a part of any strike vote or any industrial action, and has ordered the members who are employed with the PHA, the Ministry of Health, the Department of Public Health, back to work and to return to work as rostered by the schedule.
The court injunction means healthcare workers on the 10 p.m. shift and those on call must return to work immediately. Meanwhile, hospital officials reported a sharp increase in call-outs on Tuesday, with junior doctors accounting for the largest percentage of absences.
Well, today we faced 98% of that happening, as well as it relates to the CPSA, which is the senior set of physicians. It was around 60% the entire time.
We had a better picture today, as nurses reported, only 40% calling in Family Islands and 22% in the Providence. However, as you can imagine, the services are heavily supported by physician staff, and in the Providence specifically, we had a significant level of call-out where only, I think it was 4 or 5 physicians came in.
Meanwhile, the head of the umbrella union behind this nationwide strike holding a meeting with union members Monday night, were the only station there to capture it all, as the president telling our Bertha McDermott that the 48-hour strike could last longer.
What was originally set out to be 2 days of industrial action could stretch beyond the 48 hours, according to Trade Union Congress President Obie Ferguson. Ferguson called a meeting with his affiliates Monday evening to chart the way forward, but it seems the impact was not as far-reaching as many anticipated. Labor and the Public Service Minister, Pierre Glover said the impact was minimal, thanks to contingency efforts put in place to pick up the slack. But Ferguson says he was pleased with Monday's outcome.
Oh, very much so.
Do you think the...
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, man, the payments? I hear more stuff on my phone, right? I mean, you know, this is now, you win election now by this. This thing called, what do you call it? Social media, right?
Social media.
This is very powerful.
Individual unions participating in the rest day all have outstanding issues, but on a broader scale, the TUC isn't pleased with what they say are multiple unfulfilled promises in the Memorandum of Understanding signed with then opposition leader Philip Davis back in 2021. While Ferguson said his 14 affiliate unions were all in support, some of them were absent and did not participate in the rest day, like the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union.
They indicated that they met with the government prior to this, and they sign off on everything that they ask.
It seems the biggest hit was at the public healthcare system and teachers in the north. Public Hospitals Authority Managing Director Dr. Arbonette Roll Monday said they were in crisis mode, adding a contingency plan has been put in place to ensure no one suffers. Ferguson says he's received multiple calls from people wanting an end to the action. He says the plan is for the Prime Minister to meet with not just Ferguson, but the heads of all of the unions with outstanding issues.
We will work assiduously to get this matter resolved quickly.
The union chief clarified that the aim was never to strike.
If you call a strike tomorrow, you're going to get everybody and the grandma who's not even in a union. They're coming out. So that is not what we're doing. We just want results for the union.
Reporting for our news, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, thanks for that, Berthany. Now, we reached out to Labour Director Howard Thompson for comment, but our calls were not returned up to news time. Coming up in our news at 7:30, we'll take a look at how this disruption has affected essential services over on Grand Bahama. All right, take a look at this video that we're about to show you. It's been making the rounds on social media. It appears to show a woman wearing a Bahamas Department of Corrections uniform attacking another woman with punches in a local business establishment while onlookers tried to restrain her. Commissioner Don Clare confirming to our news he has seen the video, and he says the Internal Affairs Department is reviewing the matter. He's expecting to get the reports by end of week on the incident. This is a story that we will certainly continue to follow. And a court has granted permission to begin hearing extradition proceedings against a British citizen accused of kidnapping her son. Prosecutors allege that 43-year-old Barbara Shecherbachev, also known as Barbara Lynn Murphy, kidnapped her 8-year-old son in February 2022 in Switzerland, triggering an international manhunt. She and her son were found in the Bahamas in December. The son, now 10, has since been reunited with his father. Now, the woman is wanted by the Swiss Confederation. Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley received an authority to proceed with the extradition on Tuesday. She remains in custody and returns to court on February 13th. Prime Minister Philip Davis recently held his first meeting with newly appointed Police Commissioner Shannon Knowles and her executive team, where he outlined his expectations for a more aggressive approach to tackling crime. The meeting centered on identifying the additional resources needed by the Royal Bahamas Police Force to more effectively address violent crime and gang activity. The Prime Minister reiterated his administration's commitment to combating the rise in violent crime, with a particular focus on dismantling gang operations. It made it clear that the Bahamian people expect tangible results in this ongoing battle.
Gangs are a cancer on our communities, preying on the vulnerable, fostering fear, and fueling violence. We will not tolerate their existence, and each of you should commit yourselves not to tolerate this existence. So, using the full strength of the anti-gang legislation, I expect a hard crackdown on these criminal networks.
And the Prime Minister also stressed the importance of preventing gang recruitment, particularly among young men, through strengthened community programs and school policing. He outlined regular meetings between government and the police commissioner will keep efforts on track.
I need this addressed not only through enforcement, but by strengthening the urban renewal programs, engaging in communities, and creating opportunities that give our youth a reason to turn away from crime. And of course, the school policing is a huge and important initiative in this regard. To me, prevention is just as important as detection and prosecution.
All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is back. He's standing by in the Weather Center. Greg, welcome back.
Thanks for being back.
Listen, I see we got 73. It feels like a 73.
And feels like 73.
I know you just came back from our neighbors to the north.
Yep,
And
actually,
certain the temperatures were much lower.
43 in Orlando when I was on my return back home. So yeah, those were some cold temperatures. But we're getting that cold air mass now because that's a front that moved through them about a day or two ago. It's now moving through our area right now. We'll show you that in a short while. 75 degrees is our current temperature under cloudy skies. We have some very light sprinkles out there. West-northwest winds at 8 miles per hour, and your feel-like temperature is in the low 70s. Temperatures around the islands right now, it's 70 in Freeport, 71 over in Marsh Harbor, Abaco, pick up 73 in Alistown, Bimini, Nicholstown, Andros, and Great Harbor Key, also in Governor's Harbor, Luther, all 75s, that's as well as here in the capital. 74s, Kemps Bay, Georgetown, Deadman's Key, and Arthurstown, Coburn Town, San Salvador, 72, and into the southeast Bahamas, 73 in Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Abrahams Bay. 75s, Duncantown, Ragged Island, Providencia Islands, Turks and Caicos Islands, Delectable Bay, 74, and Matthewtown, Inagua. Your temperature right now is at 76. Satellite radar composite. Leading edge of frontal boundary with a lot of moisture associated with it in the form of some clouds moving into the central Bahamas as we speak. Some very light sprinkles associated with this. This is a moisture-starved frontal boundary, but the cold air mass is moving in behind that. We're going to see some temperatures dipping into the upper 50s to the 60s, and then we expect some more 70s for tomorrow. That's your first leg of weather. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Thanks, Greg. When we come back, from breaking national records to representing the country on the Olympic stage, local swimming has come a long way, but is it enough to claim an Olympic medal? Sasha Lightbourne back tonight to explore the issues in our week-long series, Swimming in Paradise.
Coming up in sports, Cameron Riley reflects on his performance on the Corn Ferry Tour, and after a week in the portal, Prince Strawn is headed to LA.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
America's 47th President Donald J. Trump takes office on January 20th. With a decisive victory and clear mandate from the American people, what will his anticipated policy changes in immigration, taxation, climate change, foreign policy, and social reconstruction mean for the Bahamas and the region? Join On the Record with me, Jerome Sawyer, Thursday, January 23rd at 8 p.m. from the nation's capital for a special Mission to Washington.
Unleash resilience. Secure the digital future. Navigate the evolving landscape of cyber threats. The future will be secured. Presenting the Alive Business Cybersecurity Conference. Securing the future. Navigating cyber challenges in business. Thursday, February 20th, 2025. Atlantis, Paradise Island. Register today. This is how we unleash resilience. This is how we create innovation. Together, let's secure the digital future.
Each week, we go into the heart of our second city and talk to the people
Competitive swimming is escalating to one of the most popular sports in the country today. It's earned us prominence in the region and produced a 3-time Olympian, but with so much progress in the recent Summer Games, it felt as if we were further away from the Olympic medal podium than in previous games. In her continuing series, Swimming in Paradise, Sasha Lightbourne speaks to a multiple national record holder and repeat Olympian.
Ariana Vanderpool Wallace represented the Bahamas in the 2008, 2012, and 2016 Olympics. Her national records in the 50 and 100 meter free, as well as the 50, 100, and 200 meter butterfly, are still standing today. When we raised this question of the declining Olympic qualifiers, Van der Poel-Wallace was surprisingly optimistic about the future, despite the low numbers. But she did share how equipment costs are likely prohibiting factors. For instance, the tech suits that swimmers must wear, prices start at $50, but can go as high as $2,000.
Those tech suits, you can probably wear them to 3 or 4 meets before you need a new one.
A surprising revelation if you're not a competitive swimmer. While recreational swimsuits get repeated use, for competitive swimmers, the lifespan of a swimsuit is very short.
The amount of times you pull it on and take it off, that's wearing those fibers out. And so I would say multiple races in a meet, or if you were only wearing it one time, then you can probably have it stretched a little bit more.
With only 2 swimmers qualifying for the Paris Summer Olympics, the only Bahamian to even come close to medaling believes our best swimming performances have yet to be seen. And here's why.
I'm really excited to see how the future develops. I think the biggest boost to seeing a lot more Bahamians continue in the sport past 18 is the creation, if you will, or addition of social media.
She especially sees a bright future in our most recent Olympic swimmers, Lamar Taylor and Renishka Gibbs.
Lamar and Renishka are both, I think, really in the beginning stages of their international careers. Obviously, they've been to other international meets. This was both of their first Olympic Games.
Now, as swimming clubs around the country grow, this 3-time Olympian predicts more Olympic-ready Bahamian swimmers will emerge.
The more swimmers that we see going to these international meets and potentially making semis and finals, the more it will excite the younger kids to keep going and keep swimming.
Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Welcome to Our Sports at 7, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's John Marknut. Let's do show. It was a milestone achievement just playing among the top young golfers on the Corn Ferry Tour, but Cameron Riley missed the cut, ending his bid at the Bahamas Golf Classic at the Atlantis Paradise Island. Yesterday in round 2, Riley shot an even par 70. He birdied holes 6, 8, 16, and 17 to conclude his run at the event. Riley improved from round 1 when he shot 74 to finish 4 over.
It didn't take long for Prince Strong to find a new home after he entered the transfer portal. The sophomore wide receiver committed to the University of Southern California Trojans in the Big Ten after spending 2 seasons with Mountain West Conference powerhouse Boise State. In 13 games this season, Strong had 21 receptions for 164 yards and a touchdown.
In the latest edition of the Associated Press Top 25 men's basketball poll, Bahamians, both on the court and on the sidelines, saw their teams featured prominently in the rankings. Topping the list, University of Kentucky assistant coach Mikhail McLean and his 8th-ranked Wildcats. Checking in at number 9, A.J. Storr and the Kansas Jayhawks. Dayton Albury and the Utah State Aggies have risen 3 spots to number 22. VJ Edgecombe and the Baylor Bears are back in the poll at number 25.
The first meet on an active local calendar for the B3As, the T-Bird Flyers meet, produced several impressive performances. The meet had several Carifta qualifiers over the 2 days of competition at the original Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Anae Mackey of the Blue Chips Throwing Club set a new meet record and simultaneously reached Carifta qualifying standards in the under-20 girls and open women's discus. 13-year-old Jose Johnson of Leap Faith reached the Carifta qualifying standard for the under-17 girls long jump.
That'll do it for Our Sports. Stay tuned to Our News at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump's pick for defense secretary, under fire during a tense confirmation hearing. Plus, thousands displaced by wildfires struggling to secure housing. Experts warning that rising demand could push rents even higher. And Mexican migrants head toward the United States with a sense of hope, despite Trump's hardline stance on immigration. The story when Our News returns.
Each week, we go into the heart of our second city and talk to the people helping to shape this community.
This is what makes me happy to come to work every day, to know that I'm helping someone.
These are the faces of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, helping to maintain infrastructure, grow the economy, and bring a better quality of life.
Our mission statement is to better the life.
Because I have to be a part of Grand Bahama.
Join me at Talia Hall every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. right here on Our News as we share these inspiring stories of Freeport. Stay with the team you already trust.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the Our News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you already trust.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth faced a grilling from Democratic Senator Tim Kaine and other lawmakers during a contentious confirmation hearing on Tuesday. Hegseth, a former Fox News host and military veteran, was questioned for 4 hours about past controversial remarks on women in the military and his plans to restore a warrior ethos at the Pentagon. He also dismissed allegations of heavy drinking as a smear campaign.
I'm willing to endure these attacks, but what I will do is stand up for the truth and for my reputations. Another colleague, not anonymous, we have this, said that you took co-workers to a strip club. You were drunk, you tried to dance with strippers, you had to be held off the stage, and one of your employees in that event filed a sexual harassment charge as a result of it. Now, I know you deny these things, but isn't that the kind of behavior that, if true, would be disqualifying for somebody to be Secretary of Defense? Senator, anonymous false charges. They're not anonymous. And I'll just conclude and say this to the chairman. You claim that this was all anonymous. We have seen records with names attached to all of these, including the name of your own mother.
Thousands displaced by the Eden and Palisades wildfires in Los Angeles are struggling to find housing in one of the nation's most expensive markets. This, as some survivors told BBC, that rents have soared, leaving few options. California's anti-price gouging law caps rent hikes at 10% during emergencies, but enforcement remains uncertain. Meanwhile, median rents in Los Angeles hover around $2,800 monthly, with two-bedroom apartments near $3,000. Experts warn private deals and rising demand could push prices even higher, leaving many victims priced out of their own neighborhoods. And hundreds of migrants formed a caravan and left Tapachula, Mexico early Sunday, seeking safety in numbers amid threats from organized crime along their journey. They gathered in the city's Central Park before setting out, hopeful about reaching the United States despite challenges, including President-elect Donald Trump's hardline stance on immigration. Many expressed confidence they would not face deportation, saying they are not involved in illegal activities. And Syrians recently celebrated 1 month since the fall of Bashar al-Assad's regime, but expressed concerns about the nation's future after a 13-year civil war. Assad fled to Russia on December 8th, ending nearly 25 years of rule after anti-government forces swiftly seized control of Damascus. International sanctions may ease, with the United States issuing a 6-month exemption for some transactions to aid Syria's recovery, while the European Union considers lifting restrictions to support humanitarian efforts. All eyes set to now be on Syria's new rulers as the country begins its rebuilding process. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was January 14th. Then in our news at 7:30, post Junkanoo backlash, A groups unite to address lingering concerns over parade results, calling for a fairer and more transparent judging process. We'll tell you their gripes, but first, an R News exclusive. House Speaker Patricia DeVoe finally speaks out after that dramatic mace-throwing incident in the House of Assembly last December. Hear her thoughts on the unexpected chaos when R News returns.
Sasha Lightborn here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow all of the R News social media pages to make sure that you don't miss those top stories from the team you already trust.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having business in a box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris.
America has spoken. Donald J. Trump is headed for a second term in the White House with a Republican majority in the Senate and the Supreme Court. On January 20th, the world will witness his inauguration, and our news will be there. What will his changes mean for Bahamians in the region? Join Jerome Sawyer and the Our News team for a week of reports starting Inauguration Day. Because Our News is always there when it counts.
Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the R News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
Once I had a gal, she called me pain. Left me in the cold and pouring rain. So I decided to put her down. I took a trip to Boy Town.
Welcome to Paradise Games, where accept
On this day in Bahamian history. In 1848, Gilbert Thomas Carter was born in Devon, England. Carter, a British colonial official, served as governor of the Bahamas from 1898 to 1904. His tenure saw the rise of tourism, with Henry Flagler opening the Colonial Hotel and modernizing the Royal Victoria Hotel with electricity. Natural disasters, including the Great Bahama Hurricane of 1899, marked his time. Carter passed away in 1927. Then, in 1958, the Peace and Plenty Hotel opened in Exuma, built by Lawrence Lewis, Henry Flagler's grandnephew. Named after Dennis Roll's ship, it sits on a site believed to have been a former slave market. Fast forward to 2014, when retired pastor Rex Major's family was robbed during a home invasion by 5 armed men at 3 a.m. Major was assaulted during the ordeal.
The sense of punishment is weak. I am a corporal punishment adherent. I believe you should be bruised and bound for doing wrong on your body. I believe that. I believe strongly that there are times when the cat o' nine tails should be used, and in Rosin Square.
And in 2015, Chief Justice Sir Michael Barnett announced his resignation after 5 years, marking his return to private practice. This clip from his last address at the opening of the legal year.
This society must find a way to address the problem of dysfunctional families, witness intimidations, persons seeking to avoid jury's duty for reasons good and bad, for a prison system that hardens some criminals, and for an unforgiving society that is not willing to give persons who have spent time in prison a second chance. These are all matters outside the control of justices. And so it is, with respect, unfair and, in my view, misleading to blame the flaws in the judicial system as the cause for the increase in crime.
Tonight at 8 p.m., Our News Digital will debut its Digital Pages series on the Our News Bahamas YouTube channel. During the series, our Danielle Miller holds candid conversations with several leaders and freedom fighters right here at home, uncovering untold stories of our country's history from their perspective. Tonight's premiere features former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham, who discusses his journey to becoming Prime Minister.
Not at all. In fact, I took it as a badge of honor. When I was a boy growing up in Cooperstown, I was a delivery boy. I used to go to the mailboat and collect the grocery for a number of shopkeepers in Cooperstown, Clarence Poitier, Sam Cooper, Kelvin Sanders, and I would on the wheelbarrow, roll them to their shop, etc. I earned extra money from that. So delivery boy didn't mean the demeaning thing that Pinnan intended. I was always self-confident and self-assured. They called me biggity. I didn't object to that, but whatever I said, I could back up.
All right, to see the extended interview, be sure and check out our YouTube channel for the Our News Digital exclusive Digital Pages. If you want to watch any of today's top stories, you can also visit ournews.bs and, of course, share your favorite stories right from Our News Bahamas on Facebook. Going to do it for us at News at 7, though. Joining us now, Italia Hall. She's got the latest headlines. Italia?
Thanks so much, Kendall. We have a number of stories to get to tonight. We're still following that Supreme Court injunction ordering public servants back to work. Here are your latest headlines. First tonight on Our News Live at 7:30, more healthcare workers call in sick. As the industrial action intensifies, the Public Hospitals Authority sheds light on how this impacts patient care and what comes next. We have the latest from a press briefing call late this afternoon. Plus, industrial action also continuing on Grand Bahama today. We hear how the move impacted healthcare and education sectors. Also, on day 2 of a trade union Congress industrial action, the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union opts out. President Kyle Wilson credits better rapport with BPL's new CEO. We have the latest. And later, in an exclusive interview, the House Speaker addresses the day St. Barnabas MP Shannon Dawn Cartwright threw the mace out of the House of Assembly's window. We have her candid comments when Our News Live at 7:30 returns.
Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the Our News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
Once I had a gal, she called me pain. Left me in the cold and pouring rain. So I decided to put her down. I took a trip to Boy Town.
Welcome to Paradise Games, where exceptional service meets the ultimate gaming experience. Our dedicated team is here to make every visit a win.
Now this is paradise.
This is more than just a place to play.
Now this is paradise.
It's where excitement meets world-class service.
Now this is paradise.
Now this is paradise.
Come, experience it for yourself. Now this is paradise.
Every season creates an opportunity for you to enjoy the comfort and security of your most valuable assets. Unfortunately, termites are common and very unwanted guests that never stop eating. With Struckum, you can enjoy the peace of mind as we protect your investment with our 3-year fumigation warranty. Struckum, #1 in pest control services.
Welcome to Our News. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Italia Hall. While government has secured a Supreme Court injunction forcing Trade Union Congress affiliates back on the job after a second day of disruptive industrial action, the court order named several key ministries including Health and Wellness, Public Hospitals Authority, tourism as claimants, while major unions like air traffic controllers and Bahamas doctors unions are listed as defendants. The legal action follows a widespread labor withdrawal by the Trade Union Congress over unresolved issues. Health Minister Dr. Michael Darville shared news of the court order in a press conference late Tuesday afternoon.
An affidavit was filed on January the 14th with the Supreme Court and heard by Justice Darren Ellis. The Supreme Court ordered that an injunction restraining the employees with the Department of Public Health, the Ministry of Health, as well as the Public Hospitals Authority, from being a part of any strike vote or any industrial action, and has ordered the members who are employed with the PHA, the Ministry of Health, the Department of Public Health, back to work and to return to work as rostered by the schedule.
Now, the court injunction means healthcare workers on the 10 p.m. shift and those on call must return to work immediately. Meanwhile, hospital officials reported a sharp increase in call-outs Tuesday, with junior doctors accounting for the largest percentage of absences.
Well, today we faced 98% of that happening, as well as it relates to the CPSA, which is the senior set of physicians. It was around 60% the entire time.
We had a better picture today, as nurses reported, only 40% calling in Family Islands and 22% in the Providence. However, as you can imagine, the services are heavily supported by physician staff. And in the Providence specifically, we had a significant level of call-out where only, I think it was 4 or 5 physicians came in.
Meanwhile, industrial action continuing on Grand Bahama today, but despite the ongoing action, operations at the Ram Memorial Hospital appeared normal on Tuesday, and at Paris Plaza, which was closed on Monday, one patient told us today she received service and was able to get her medication. Our news also received reports that students at the St. George's High School were sent home on Monday. When we visited the school Tuesday morning, things were pretty quiet. Vice Principal Fraser Gibson telling our news more than 50% of teachers, some who had called in sick the previous day, had returned to work.
I'm not quite clear on what the action is, but I believe that some of the actions would be promotions, increases, and I think it's a variety of stuff because it's a conglomerate of unions together. So each union has their reason, and I guess they have not been met, and I think that the powers that be need to come together in order to resolve them so that the business of the country could continue.
Over at the Sister Mary Patricia Junior High School, Principal Shakita Thompson telling us students were allowed to go home on Monday at 12 p.m. due to the industrial action. However, no students showed up at school today.
But we have a few teachers from the Bahamas Union of Teachers that would have showed up to school ready to work, but our pupils did not show up. But I appreciate that they would have made the sacrifice and they understand the importance. We understand that there's a strike going on and we understand the importance of that strike. We're in support of all educators, the rights of all educators, but it saddens me that the children must suffer in the midst of all of this. So hopefully there will be some positive results because we've not had 2 days of school.
And another umbrella union, the National Congress of Trade Union Bahamas, weighing in on the industrial action. Our Joshua Williams reports.
Ongoing industrial action by the Trade Union Congress crippled the healthcare system yesterday and impacted several other government agencies. As members of the 14 affiliate unions in New Providence and Grand Bahama took a rest day, according to TUC President Obie Ferguson, it looks like that action could go into day 3. But not everyone agrees with the move. National Congress of Trade Union Bahamas President Dwayne Woods says it's time for those workers to get back to work.
The minimal effect that it had on the country yesterday, I think the stakeholders should take note and forget or try to return back to work and let the country proceed as normal.
The action came after months of escalating tension between the unions and the Davis administration, and nearly 4 years after the TUC signed a MOU with the opposition Davis-led PLP. The NCTUB signed the same agreement in 2021, but is singing a different tune.
More than 80% of our matters on the MOU has been resolved, so it's just a matter of maybe another, less than 20% to be complete.
An apparent breakdown in communication between Prime Minister Philip Davis and TUC President Obi Ferguson. Ferguson denying that he ever met with the Prime Minister after Davis said that he was supposed to meet with the unions at 2 p.m. on Monday. Wood says his union has a different experience.
So I met with the Prime Minister as recent as this morning after a brief conversation and call to him yesterday after 1 p.m.
And while many wonder if the TUC sick-out will go beyond today, Woods offers this way forward.
The actions that we take is by way of social dialogue, and we have concluded most of our industrial agreements and most of our matters of concern of the industrial nature has been addressed by the government. So if we could get it done by social dialogue, why can't the other Congress get it done that way?
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks so much for that, Josh. And still on the labor front, the union representing line staff at Bahamas Power and Light lauding new CEO Tony Seymour for her involvement in industrial relations, describing the relationship between the union and management as harmonious.
Even now, as the CEO, she has been extremely progressive in handling all union-related matters. And so even though she may be the point person for what they call the new era of energy, she herself has said, well, no, this will also be a new era of industrial relations. And she is proving herself greatly with the unions, and she's also including us in decisions. When there's decisions to make in terms of personnel being brought into the company, she consults with the union, not to say we have a direct say, but she would inform us respectfully of this is who's coming in, this is what I'm doing here, this is what I'm doing there. And so, I mean, the industrial harmony in BPL is at an all-time high.
Wilson said walking off the job now would be a slap in the face to Seymour. He says she's also been working to improve the medical benefits since she became the CEO, despite not attending the meeting with the TUC affiliates Monday evening. Wilson says the BMU is still supporting its sister unions in doing what they need to get their issues resolved.
Mr. Ferguson, he has been in the union thing or the union game or the industrial situations probably before I was even born, so he knows from his wealth of experience what's happening. And so, like I say, we do stand in solidarity to see the issues resolved, and I hope that all parties come to the table, let's sit down, let's reason, and let's see the issues be resolved.
While the ongoing industrial action continues to raise alarm nationwide, this as critical services grapple with staffing shortages due to employees calling in sick. While during our monthly sit-down interview with Vice President of Group Head Investment at RF Bank and Trust, David Slatter, he addressed the potential fallout of the ongoing strike. Slatter believes that prolonged industrial action could negatively affect government revenue.
The union and the strikers are able to remain on strike for a period of time, then that increases the pressure on the government to sit at the table and negotiate. So the longer it goes on, the greater the pressure, the need for the government to sit down and speak to the union and find a resolution. So let's hope that as a resolution is found sooner rather than later. One would assume that that a resolution may involve improved or increased benefits for the members of the union, which could add to the fiscal challenges of the government. So we saw, that's my main concern, is that there's just an additional strain on their fiscal budget. We saw in the first quarter of fiscal 2024-2025 that the deficit was actually far in excess of budget. So quite a bit, so maybe $120 million in excess of budget. So unfortunately, this may only exacerbate that issue, the fiscal challenge for the government.
While authorities are investigating the country's latest suicide, after a man's body was discovered in a home on Jenny Street near R.M. Bailey School late Tuesday evening. Details remain sketchy, but newly appointed police press liaison officer, Chief Superintendent Sharia King, shared this on the scene.
At approximately 4 p.m. today, Police Control Room received a call in reference to an apparent suicide on Jenny Street. As a result, officers responded, and on their arrival, they observed an elderly male hanging from the ceiling. EMS examined the body, and as a result, they found no signs of life. We are in the preliminary stages of this investigation, but what we can say is we do not see any foul play.
All right, such sad news. Well, now turning to weather. Get your sweaters out as temperatures are dropping in the capital. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is in the Weather Center with your first look at weather. Greg, welcome back.
Thank you.
Mickey Mouse.
Nah.
Orlando. I heard it's very cold there.
I woke up to 43? I think it was 43 when we woke up on Sunday morning, yeah. So cold front that moves through them. We're now getting the cold air mass, so we are going to see our temperatures continue to fall. 75 degrees outside the studios right now. It's still on the cloudy skies. The winds are out of the west-northwest at 8 miles per hour. Feels like temperature is at 73 degrees. Satellite radar composite, you make out some cloudy conditions across, now spreading actually into the central Bahamas, all the leading edge of a frontal boundary that moved through the northwest Bahamas earlier today. And I think by 12 noon you started to feel those nice cool temperatures. Well, we're going to continue to see those temperatures fall again, and then we're going to get a slight warm up by Thursday, Friday time frame, and then we expect another front on the weekend. So this reinforcing air mass is going to stay with us for a couple of days. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. A look at your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, weeks after the Junkanoo parades, 3 major A groups challenged the judging process. Our Delvardo Emmanuel has their story when our news continues. Stay with us.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
America's 47th President Donald J. Trump takes office on January 20th. With a decisive victory and clear mandate from the American people, what will his anticipated policy changes in immigration, taxation, climate change, foreign policy, and social reconstruction mean for the Bahamas and the region? Join On the Record with me, Jerome Sawyer, Thursday, January 23rd at 8 p.m. from the nation's capital for a special Mission to Washington.
Unleash resilience. Secure the digital future. Navigate the evolving landscape of cyber threats. The future will be secured. Presenting the Alive Business Cybersecurity Conference. Securing the future. Navigating cyber challenge.
House Speaker Patricia DeVoe is speaking out for the first time since the chaotic day St. Barnabas Member of Parliament Shannon Dawn Cartwright threw the mace out of the House of Assembly's window. She sat down with our Sasha Lightborn for an exclusive interview.
This was the moment that threw the House of Assembly in a frenzy back on December 4th. Since then, 6 opposition members were suspended for 2 sessions of the House of Assembly. But House Speaker Patricia DeVoe wanted to clear the air on the whole ordeal. She says it's simple. Opposition Leader Michael Pintard did not follow the rules, specifically Rule 51.
It's never my intent to muzzle anybody, but I do have to be appropriate, and I do have to conduct the affairs of the House under the rules and procedures.
I also asked DeVoe about whether she's made any recommendations to better secure the Speaker's area.
I have sat with members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. You know, we now have a new sitting commissioner, so we're just waiting for her to get into her comfort level and get some things done internally. And then we're going to begin the conversation.
The House Speaker also indicated there's no bad blood on her end.
I can't allow that space to become a war room. I have to make sure to protect the interests of the people. There's no bad blood between me and any of the members. I tell them I have a rule. We get vexed, but we don't get mad. Mad is what you carry to your grave. Vexed is you mad for a little, you're a little pissed off for 1 or 2 hours, but you come back.
And as for the way forward?
My dream, Sasha, is this. And I think this is any speaker's dream. When the government and the opposition can come together and put what is first and foremost, and that's the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The House resumes this Wednesday at 10 a.m. Reporting for our news, I'm Sasha Lightbourne.
Thanks so much for that, Sasha. While weeks after the Junkanoo parades wrapped up, controversy is brewing. 3A group banding together to criticize the results and how the parades are judged. Genesis Roots and music makers all say the time has come to address long-standing concerns and ensure fairness and transparency. Our Delvado Emmanuel has the story.
Genesis Junkanoo organization has long advocated for transparency, fairness, and consistency in the judging process, but it has become increasingly evident that the current system no longer meets the needs of our expectations.
Now that the parades are over, 3 top Junkanoo groups are expressing growing frustrations over what they describe as a broken judging system. In a press conference at Crypto Hours, Genesis Roots and the music makers revealed they banded together, calling judging unfair. Leading the charge for change is the Genesis Junkanoo organization's chairman, Philip Taylor.
The inconsistencies in scores, the lack of clear criteria for the judging, and failure to properly reflect the dedication and artistry of the various groups are all contributing factors to the growing unrest.
The groups are collectively compiling a document of recommendations to the JCNP, which includes clear and transparent judging criteria and improved training for judges, among others.
We feel like we all fit into the same category in terms of being the unprivileged Junkanoo groups in this country. Whether people accept it or whether people admit it, there are some groups that are privileged. That is just the reality of it.
Adding his voice to the call for reform is Gary Russell, chairman of the music makers, who alleges discrepancies in rules enforcement have been a long-standing issue.
The fun is gone out of Junkanoo. The fun is gone. I was on Grand Bahama at Grand Bahama's Junkanoo, and the level of the costumes on Grand Bahama and the fun on the parade, we're missing that in Nassau. It's been gone for a long time, and we need fun back on Bay Street.
We reached out to the JCNP for comment, but didn't get a response up to airtime. Reporting for our news, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by RF, your local investment bank. This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Coming up in sports, we've got updates from the Bahamas Golf Classic, the AP Top 25 men's basketball polls, and the T-Bird Flyers host the first meet of the season.
And a cool Tuesday sets the stage for the work week. Find out if these chilly conditions will continue. Craig is back with your extended weather when our news returns. Stay with us.
Unleash resilience. Secure the digital future. Navigate the evolving landscape of cyber threats. The future will be secured. Presenting the Alive Business Cybersecurity Conference. Securing the future. Navigating cyber challenges in business. Thursday, February 20th, 2025. Atlantis, Paradise Island. Register today. This is how we unleash resilience. This is how we create innovation. Together, let's secure the digital future.
Each week, we go into the heart of our second city and talk to the people helping to shape this community.
This is what makes me happy to come to work every day, to know that I'm helping someone.
These are the faces of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, helping to maintain infrastructure, grow the economy, and bring a better quality of life.
Our mission statement is to better the lives.
Because I have to be a part of Grand Bahama.
Join me at Talia Hall every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. right here on Our News as we share these inspiring stories of Freeport. Stay with the team you already trust.
Yo, what's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
Embrace technology and the digital transformation for better business results. For small business owners, it's essential to understand how technology can affect operational efficiencies. Modern communication relies on technology, and your customer service depends on communication. With proper tools like our fixed and mobile services, we help you stay connected. For solutions that work, ask the experts. Call Cable Bahamas Business Solutions.
Hey guys, Megan Shepherd here. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Just click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so you stay up to date with content like this from the team you all.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th year seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. That's Sean Marknut. Let's do show. It was a milestone achievement just playing among the top young golfers on the Korn Ferry Tour, but Cameron Riley missed the cut, ending his bid at the Bahamas Golf Classic at the Atlantis Paradise Island. Yesterday in round 2, Riley shot an even par 70. He birdied holes 6, 8, 16, and 17 to conclude his run at the event.
I like the change, the fact that there's more people out here and the environment's more lively, you know, there's more spectators. It feels like more of like a tour event, you know. In Abaco and Exuma, it was a bit harder because it's not as many people care about golf and not as many people can have access to get out there. So it was a bit smaller, more intimate, but I like the fact that there was crowds and people cheering and all that.
Riley improved from round 1 when he shot 74 to finish 4 over.
It didn't take long for Prince Strong to find a new home after he entered the transfer portal. The sophomore wide receiver committed to the University of Southern California Trojans in the Big Ten after spending 2 seasons with Mountain West Conference powerhouse Boise State. In 13 games this season, Strong had 21 receptions for 164 yards and a touchdown. As a freshman in 14 games, he totaled 12 catches for 274 yards and 2 touchdowns. Strong gives USC another target out wide who will help fill the void left by 4 of the top 6 wide receivers from last season. Strong is the 10th transfer addition this offseason for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans.
In the latest edition of the Associated Press Top 25 men's basketball poll, Bahamians, both on the court and on the sidelines, saw their teams featured prominently in the rankings. Topping the list, University of Kentucky assistant coach Mikhail McLean and his 8th ranked Wildcats. UK is now 13-3, 2-1 in a competitive SEC that features 9 ranked teams. Checking in at number 9, AJ Storr and the Kansas Jayhawks. The Jayhawks are 12-3, 3-1 in the Big 12. After they opened conference play with a 1-point loss to West Virginia, they reeled off 3 consecutive wins headed into tomorrow night's key matchup against number 2 Iowa State. Dayton Albury and the Utah State Aggies have risen 3 spots to number 22. Utah State is 16-1, perfect in the Mountain West at 6-0. BJ Edgecombe and the Baylor Bears are back in the poll at number 25. The Bears are 11-4 in the season, but each of their 4 losses have come against ranked teams.
The first meet on an active local calendar for the B3As, the T-Bird Flyers meet produced several impressive performances. The meet had several Carifta qualifiers over the 2 days of competition at the original Thomas A. Robinson Stadium. Anae Mackey of the Blue Chips Throwing Club set a new meet record and simultaneously reached Carifta qualifying standards in the under-20 girls and open women's discus.
It's good to know that you could qualify very early. You get to go back in the lab and you know what you can work on, and when it's time to compete, you're ready.
13-year-old Jose Johnson of Leap Faith reached the Carifta qualifying standard for the under-17 girls long jump. She won the under-15 girls division at the meet with a leap of 5.65 meters to surpass the 5.45 meter standard.
It feels great. I am ready to accept this new journey and just to move forward.
That'll do it for Our Sports. This is 10YS. If they ranked regular jobs every week like they did in college hoops, where would we be?
I think we'd be like the mid-major, 20.
Ranked number 1, ain't nobody out there better. Back to the studio.
When our news comes back from the break, cool weather conditions on this Tuesday evening. Wondering what else we can expect? Craig is back with your weather details when our news returns.
Sasha Lightborn here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow all of the R News social media pages to make sure that you don't miss those top stories from the team you already trust.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having Business in a Box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris.
America has spoken. Donald J. Trump is headed for a second term in the White House with a Republican majority in the Senate and the Supreme Court. On January 20th, the world will witness his inauguration, and our news will be there. What will his changes mean for Bahamians in the region? Join Jerome Sawyer and the Our News team for a week of reports starting Inauguration Day. Because Our News is always there when it counts.
Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the Our News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
Welcomed.
This is Our News. Welcome back. We are enjoying some really nice weather. We have a cold front that is now moving into the central Bahamas. Not much in terms of any moisture associated with the frontal boundary, but that frontal boundary will continue to sag towards the south. High pressure building in behind will give us some breezy conditions that will be pumping in that cool air mass. So we're looking for 1 or 2 days of temperatures in the 70s. And then we will see an uptick in temperatures for the weekend, and yet again another front expected during that time frame. Plan on doing any boating or beaching. Caution flag for you guys out there in the northwest and central Bahamas. Rip current risk high. North to northeast winds 15 to 20 knot, seas running 4 to 7 feet, and some northeasterly swells. High and low tide 8:14 tonight. The low tide 2:17 in the morning. Southeast Bahamas, the winds are actually going to be a little weaker, but out of the northeast 10 to 15 knots. Rip current risk high. We expect those seas to be running 2 to 4 feet over open waters. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, cloudy conditions at first, but we expect some clearing, but it's going to be a little bit on the breezy side. Temperatures will stay in the 70s throughout the remainder of the week. We get another front coming in by Saturday, Sunday time frame. Temperatures will be back near the 80-degree mark during that time frame. That's a look at our weather. Make it a safe night, everybody.
All right, thanks so much, Greg, and thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Natalia Hall. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have a great evening.
Hi, and thank you for watching. I'm Natalia Hall. Be sure and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Click right over here. And don't forget to turn on your notifications to see more content from the team you already trust.